Cool. Ready? Cool.
The smell of you is still stuck to my skin. I can't help but breathe in. Is this really how happy stories end? Or is there more to this tale? I came for the everlasting love. You said what we had will never die. Can we go back to the way things were before? You're what my soul longs for. The way your heart gets mine. It's like we're never running out of time, my love. No use getting turned to what was said and what was done. My heart is yours, but your heart ain't mine. You're a stone-faced guy, so you got a smile that makes me think another way. You're more than I ever wanted and much more than I need to survive the steep chasm of hypocrisy in which we live. I never really thought you'd move on to someone else. I guess my letters never found you misplaced like my love. You're all that I ever wanted, but much more than I would need. You're a stone-faced guy, so you got a smile that makes me think another way. You're more than I ever wanted and much more than I would need to survive the steep chasm of hypocrisy in which we live. You're a stone-faced guy, so you got a smile that makes me think another way. You're more than I ever wanted and much more than I would need to survive the steep chasm of hypocrisy in which we live. All I've left to give you are the words to this song, to help patch up all the places that did you wrong. You're more than I ever wanted, but you'll never be mine. As you found your love, and my love will come by someday.
Yes indeed, that was Skinni Coco with Stone-Faced Goddess here on the Quintus and Baker show. Yes indeed, we are live here on YouTube What a great track. What a great track. Stone-Faced Goddess. It is the Quintus and Baker show. It is the show where we bring you South Africa's up-and-coming artists. Even though we are joined by someone in Austria. We'll let you know more about that. But my name is Quintus. Okay, but Christopher, I'm not hearing you.
And I'm muted.
You did one of those.
Now I'm here.
You did one of those Zoom things where it's like,
Yeah.
yo, unmute your mic, honorable member, unmute your mic.
Honorable. Yeah, well, I am the Honorable Muted Baker. Welcome you to the Quintus and Baker show.
Yes, indeed. I'm the weirdo with the beardo. It's Quintus, and you just saw him playing the guitar in black and white and rocking it. To be frank, it is Skinni Coco. What's up, Skinni Coco?
Hey, yo, what's up? Super good. That was super awesome seeing. Obviously, it's good. Super keen to be on the Q&B show and to have a fat jam, guys. Like, let's have a fantastic Tuesday.
Absolutely, bud. Let's do it, man. Yeah, it's chill. No, yeah, this is the most chilled show on a Tuesday. As the week starts, we decide, you know what? Let's bring it down to weekend level. How about that? Listen, Skinny, you've already got Remy and James in the chat section saying it's the main banana and ripe bananas. Dude, what's going on here? What kind of inside joke are we not getting?
So for like my closest, like most people that are close to me, my mates, I'm a picky eater in a sense. I deny this. But my girlfriend says this, my friends say this, I'm a picky eater. But it's like the weirdest things of like picky eating. And I could read you the list my girlfriend has compiled over the time we've dated. And one of the things is like bananas for me is I don't like ripe bananas. It's sort of like, we even have a banana scale that I like took. And it's sort of like green, like it's like the yellow bananas, then just before that. For me, that's like perfect. That's like
100%.
perfect. Like,
100%
you know, like,
agree with you on that.
Yeah. Like, you know, so James and Remy, shout out to you guys. We're part of like the Musketeers, just the three of us.
Wow.
So let me see if I can get the thing and maybe show you guys
what now?
I'm talking about.
Are you Googling the colors of bananas?
You guys,
right.
Oh, wow.
This is a good,
There's the color wheel. There's a banana color wheel.
So I'm a 4-5. I'm a 4-5.
Oh yeah.
I see that.
I'm a 4-5. And then at 6, I'm like, cool, I can do it. But after that, it's banana bread for me.
Yeah,
when you start getting to 8, it's just like, no, man. The taste changes. You guys.
Yeah, it changes.
12.
I remember saying what.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I once said, like, for me, I like a sort of little bit of like a bite to my banana. Just a little bit of a bite. Just a little, like.
Yeah.
Are you talking like acidity-wise? You like a little bit of a bite. As it goes to 8, it gets a little more acid, or what's going on?
No, it gets too sweet for me. Just put that in banana bread. Like.
I love banana bread though, but that's one of the things of lockdown. Lockdown brought us banana bread. Like South Africans have gone absolutely wild.
Dude,
yeah.
You would have sworn it was the COVID cure, man.
Yeah, no, I believe that's some sort of drink from Madagascar or something like that. That's the there's some cure out there. I'm not sure what leaf or what it's made out of, but it's apparently a cure that's in Madagascar. Listen, okay, so we started off with bananas. It's a good place to start, but about going back to Stone-Faced Goddess. Yo, Skinny, tell us about this track. It is super heartfelt. Where did the song originate from, and tell us more about the recording of it, to the point where you actually where you get together with the guys and you record this track that we just saw. Tell us more about the background.
Okay, cool, 100%. So Stone-Faced Goddess wrote the song in 2016 around sort of like July or whatever. And then sort of finished writing it like sort of towards the end of 2016. And then if you go onto my SoundCloud, which I never really share with people, but it's Skinni Coco, is like my first EP, but it's like, you know, I bought myself recording equipment and all that, and I put it in my room and self-recorded. So the original version of this is on SoundCloud, and it was my EP called Saints and Sinners. And this is one of the songs there. So it originated, so obviously it's about heartbreak, you know, young Skinni Coco, like, fell in love, got his heart, like, just boom, pounded. Yeah. And and I think it's transformed quite a lot from if you listen to the SoundCloud version and this, even some of the lyrics, I think I changed a little bit. And then sort of on the shelf. And then in terms of recording it, big shout out to Yaku Nodir and what's her name, Nathan as well, or his Instagram name, The Social Experiment. Social Experiment for, like, they just hit me up. Yaku hit me up and he was like, hey dude, you're leaving SA soon, like, do you just want to like record some demos, dude? Just some demos. I've wanted to work with you for a while, and because he does sound around at like events and stuff, and also at Bar Acoustics, which I was a regular performer there and helped out. So then we recorded it, and then Nathan did the video, and then and then I just put it up, just a nice little project. It was really cool.
Yeah. So you were like touring around Pretoria and those places there. Baker knows more about those venues from back in the day, pre-corona.
From back in the day. Yeah, man. Talk to us a little bit about your gig experience in South Africa. How long have you been gigging? And maybe tell us, like, what's your favorite joint? Is there a specific show you love to play?
Oh man, I think this is like, it's very hard to say because then it feels like, you're sort of like dissing one side and not like sort of.
No, man, you're just playing favorites.
Yeah,
just play favorites.
Play favorites. But I won't lie, like in all honesty, like shout out to Steve and the guys at Railways. Like Railways for me is like the most fun place to play. Like I've always enjoyed playing at Railways. But also like bigger things, like started out at On Class Open Mic, so shout out to Christu De Beer for that, and at different places that I think they closed, now they reopened, like First 28 and then Bar Acoustics at the Grind. But like my favorite, in all honesty, is Railways. Like Railways for me is just out of this world.
Yeah, we have a lot of good stories about Railways from other people on the show. Ian Nixon is a regular at Railways. Yeah. So it's an institution, that place.
Yeah. Oh, also, actually, I would say Railways like gig place, and then in event wise, top of the line, top of the list is Deep Roots. Like Sheldon and the team, like Deep Roots. Events wise, like Deep Roots always a jam for me. So
yeah, look.
I'll put some.
Baker and I actually played Railways before, like that grand redesign that they did on the stages and stuff like that. I mean, we played it. Yeah. We played it when there was still
a library.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. We weren't even in the library.
we were outside around the corner, and then we were playing, and it was like a Wednesday night or something like that. I don't remember, Baker, but we went out there, two little boys in high school with our little guitars. We went and strummed around a little bit, but we had probably the drunkest crowd in Pretoria at that time, and these guys were like laughing their heads off that we were playing there. And I think that could have been super damaging to like these little kids who were like, wow, what they're laughing at, or our tracks this terrible. So we've got a little bit of background.
A little bit. Yeah, definitely. Like the vibe at Railways, like, I don't know, I think the first time, like, I think so basically I started out, wasn't solo, started out with Q Marshalls, the band. That's where we started out at Tux FM, and I think never played Railways, just played around and stuff. And then once I started doing solo stuff in about 2017, and then I was just doing open mic after open mic after open mic, just religiously. And then when I got like sort of a message like, hey dude, would you like to play at Railways? And I was like, what? Oh, cool. And then that was the first time I went to Railways, was the first time I played, basically. And that was like, I think after that was just absolutely amazing. Like, in the crowd was like, I was like, oh damn, y'all know how to party. So.
Yeah, it's always a fun crowd there, man.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. Yeah, it's like so many amazing. Yeah.
Have you? I mean, I'm just curious now. Quinn has reminded me of that really interesting experience, of having a few drunk people in the crowd. Luckily, we had friends there as well, I think, just to even it out.
Yeah.
Worst performance ever in terms of crowd participation or non-participation. Go.
Oh damn! This has to go down to. I love this place with all my heart.
See, he knows already. Like it's right there.
On-class open mics can sometimes they're super fun for me, and like it's trying out new material. You get into the zone, and that's what I loved using them for, you know. And I think this one time where it was a particularly raucous night, I was playing at around like 10 or something. And I'm trying out my new version of Youth by Daughter, and I'm playing, and I think I get to like the second chorus, and this drunk girl just gets on the stage, and I play with my eyes closed most of the time, if you sort of notice, so I don't really, like, I'm just in the zone.
Yeah.
And I sort of, like, you know when you feel someone next to you, and she's on the second mic, and then she's like, sort of like, I don't know how she got the sound guy to get the mic to switch on, you know, and then all of a sudden she's playing, and I was like, okay, I'm too nice, so I'm just gonna like stop playing and like let her sing, and she just butchers this whole like thing, and I'm just like in the middle, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, like, yeah, it was just.
Wow.
Luckily, we've never had that. Actually, someone.
Yeah, that's why we play originals. We try not to have anybody singing along.
Yeah, because I think like even afterwards, she was just sort of like, "Oh, thank you, that was my favorite song. Thank you for letting me come on." In the back of my head, I'm like, "Please don't talk to me." Like,
go away. It's amazing.
Listen, man. Now we're talking about Pretoria, Johannesburg, and the likes. But you've now subsequently moved to Austria. You're actually joining us from Austria. So tell us now, what is this relocation to Austria? What is this all about?
Relocation. Well, it's obviously not for the land, because what's the name? Yeah, tiny place. Really, topical. Really tiny place. What was I saying? So yeah, I'm actually lecturing at the University of Vienna in the Department of African Studies. So doing linguistics stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of things that came into this move. It's been in process for about a year or so, and then it finally happened in February. Flew over, and this is going to be like my home base indefinitely until probably, I don't know, like I don't want to put a timeline on it. Working in academia is super fun. You meet interesting people, and one of the biggest things for me is like I get to explore my home language a lot more and teach it and share it with people, that being Zulu, and just get deeper and deeper into that. And I think that's just I don't know, such a great gift for me, and such an opportunity to do. So it was sort of a no-brainer as well. So I moved this side for work basically, and then secondly, work, love life, and music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the trifecta then, man. You've got all three. Work, love, Do they? The only thing I guess is, do they have the right shade of bananas there? Then life's perfect.
Yeah, man. There's like. I'll tell you this, like you hear it from me, I think SA has really good fruit, man.
We do.
We usually sell our fruit. Our fruit usually just leaves, and we get it. So ours is pretty good, even for the stuff we export out.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. Like, I this is the first time I'm in Vienna. Like last year I came through and stuff, like for the interviews and, visiting my girlfriend and stuff. And I always had in my head, like, sort of like, okay, cool, now I'm living here. I'm probably going to see like all these A-class exports that South Africans say go overseas. And I'm like trying some of this fruit and stuff. I'm like, nah.
They didn't get it. It's not South African fruit.
Yeah, it's not South African fruit. So we need to find out, like, where does all this fruit come from? So,
definitely. Speaking of fruit, though, what musical fruit has this move brought? Are you writing songs? Are you inspired by Vienna? Like, what's it like there?
Yeah, I'm pretty much inspired by Vienna, and I think in terms of writing, I write very like. My writing process is a very weird sort of it's not linear, it's very like over time. So basically on my phone, I have like 100 plus just voice notes, and then on my cloud, I have like maybe like 400 more where I get an idea, and then I like sit down, play it through, and I speak on the voice note what I did, and then like sort of some sort of lyrics, some sort of thing, and then for example, with Stone-Faced Goddess, it started like that, and then over time, I'd listen to it again and then write and write and write. So in Vienna, I think I've recorded about only 10 about these sort of snippets, but I haven't completed a song as yet. But, in terms of, I've had some interesting content, I guess, but not as much as I'd like, because normally I get most of my inspiration from when I'm out gigging, speaking to people, meeting new people, and because I love, like, sort of, I've gone into also telling other people's stories in my music. That's the sort of new, that's the new sort of thing, like, placing myself inside someone else's sort of story, and that's the sort of new type of thinking. Like, if you think, like, for a song reference, basically Ophelia by what's the name, the Lumineers, like that sort of.
Sick, dude. I love that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you come up with, man.
But Christopher, it's a good point. I mean, like with the Foo Fighters, where they did that one album where, they're kind of touring around everywhere, and each geography produces some sort of different sound and the content that they get from that specific town, like some sort of town when, like, for example, they go to New Orleans, and just because of the history of New Orleans and with Hurricane Katrina and all of that kind of stuff, they eventually make some sort of song that kind of alludes to that kind of pain that a certain place experiences. So I mean, that it is quite interesting. I like that kind of thing, where suddenly you go to a different country and suddenly you get like a new perspective on your music. So more of that in Vienna. But have you been pre-corona, obviously, but I know you guys are now reopening in Austria, and you're like fully reopened now.
So last week we opened bars and restaurants, but in terms of performing, you can't perform yet and stuff, because, like, the rules were like, if you want to perform, artists have to wear masks or something. So it was just so it's not as open. But I think from mid-June, all these other things are going to, like, events are going to start again and stuff, because the bars are really tiny. Like, I think, when you think of, like, South African bar, think of railways, just the theater. That's like the average size of a Viennese bar, like that entire thing, stage, bathrooms, everything. That's like the average size. So it's really small things. Yeah.
So you've played in a bar in Austria already, like you've performed.
Yeah. So I played one open mic. So I played at the Loft. So it's like very close. So I live in the 5th district. So it's like in the 16th. So I played there the week after I arrived. Because before I went, what I did was just research where all the open mics at. Because my thing was like, okay, I get there. I know I got my lectures on this day. I need to prep for varsity and all that stuff on these days. And then in between that, I'm going to slot in as many open mics as possible, because I got to play my music, get out there, meet the scene, find the scene. Where's the best bars and stuff. So I could only play one. I could play one at the Loft, and then at the Loft, the organizer invited me to play at their bar, which is the Church Pub, and then I played there, and then was like hard lockdown, so I haven't played since then.
Jeez, yeah, and now, in terms of like recording music, obviously that's become this thing that's now in a collaborative format. For Christopher and I, it's one of those kind of things. Whenever we come up with like some new song idea, he puts it on bandlab.com, for example, and we start tinkering away at a new track because we can't really see each other. But in terms of your digital footprint now, obviously you need to kind of cultivate that whilst there's been a lockdown. So have you found that is now the requirement for artists to do?
I think in all honesty, I do fall outside of, like, I wouldn't say I'm a full-time artist. I think I've never really been one of those. And because, like, I've always had something else, throughout varsity, it was radio and music on the side. And then now it's sort of like academics and being a lecturer and then music on the side, it's a big passion. So my posting I haven't felt like I had to post more or any less, but, I've seen, like, it is important to maybe do a little bit more projects and stuff. So for example, so my girlfriend Jess has actually been doing open mics on her Instagram live. She's a poet and stuff, and so they do that around. So I've participated in that, but I haven't really posted more, because I think in terms of my posting schedule and all that, I've sort of just stayed more or less similar.
Do you have any plans on recording anything, sort of like a proper studio recording, maybe getting onto a platform like iTunes, Spotify?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think after recording with Yaku, obviously he's from the Lebowski, and then once I go back to SA is when I come back, the plans to come back for a month once a year. Is I just want to go back, and then all the bands and peeps that I collaborated with just do like just a project here, a project there, and then we all put that onto as a thing. I'm not really thinking about an EP as yet, like a lot more, and finish a lot of the songs. I've got a backlog, and I need to sort of complete those songs and sit down and actually have that time to
It's good
to flesh them out. Yeah, because it's also a genre change that I'm sort of like, as you're saying, a different environment brings out a different sort of viewpoints on your music. So I've been growing a lot more. I've been exploring a lot more of my soul background and blues, going a lot more to that side, and even what I've been writing. So I think once I go back to SA, because I want to record in SA, I wouldn't record in Vienna, because I think it's very important to sort of collaborate and work with the people that you grew up with. I think for me that's the biggest thing. I wouldn't record a project Vienna side. If I did, then it would have to involve more South African peeps, and then that would be the thing. So,
no, that's really. Yeah. It's really interesting that you say that, because I mean, some people would think, geez, like record your thing overseas. A lot of bands used to do that back in the day. Like Queen would actually even go to Germany, and they would record the album in Germany. But then they would say that they go into this recording studio and it's like some graveyard of a place. They record an album and it actually starts to get into their psyche whilst they're recording this album, where it's like, guys, it's actually depressing to record in this place. So you have to pick those things where you feel the most creative. Adversely, though, Paul McCartney, I remember, said that some of his best work was in a studio in Jamaica. And so, like, he was like recording, and he was like, "Dude, I totally dig Jamaica." Even though he was like on the verge of getting malaria in Jamaica, he still thought it was pretty good. By the way, Kanye West actually went to Jamaica just a couple months ago. So there's something with Jamaica. Yeah, dude, I think there's an untapped market in Jamaica. So you should go. You should go and check it out.
I'd say the same thing in terms of untapped markets. I'd say the exact same thing about South Africa, like the talent, especially just from the live scene, music scene in South Africa. The musicians I've seen, it's just ultra talented, from producers to guys that just play the bass and don't do anything else. It's just, I think for me, it's just like me being in Austria is more of like me thinking, when I'm going music, is also showcasing South Africa and representing that, and being like, us as South Africa's music scene is an untapped talent pool that
100%.
Like, bring that international instead of trying to be international and back into SA. I think that's my mindset. Music,
that's the whole thing. But that's why we tried to start the show up, because I'm not sure of how many more platforms are available. Look, everyone can do their own social media and stuff, but no one's actively talking about the indie scene in South Africa anymore.
No.
I see we've lost Christopher. I don't know where he's gone off to, but this is a good moment to quickly break away and play some more music that Skinni has prepared for the show. So we are going to talk about, like you said, you were dwelling on your soul. Well, you were thinking of making like more soul music type of thing, and kind of feeding off of those inspirations of soul and different genres. So we're quickly going to play a cover that Skinni has done. I'm going to just move over to this screen, and then we are going to play a cover that is called Love and Hate, and this is by a guy called Michael Kiwanuka. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, Michael Kiwanuka, a man from Britain, dude. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about your, who you inspired by in the industry at the moment. But let's first take a look at the track, and then we'll continue after that. Listen to this.
But need something, give me something wonderful. I believe she won't take me somewhere I'm not supposed to be. You can't steal the things that God has given me. No more shame and no more pain and misery. You can break me down, you can take me down, oh you can break me down. Love and hate, how much longer we supposed to tolerate? Can't you see I'm much more than just my mistakes? Sometimes I get this feeling makes me hesitate. You can break me down, you can take me down, or you can break me down. Oh, I can see the place of trouble from behind the wall. Oh, I can sense the place of darkness from the hospital. And for the love of everybody, look behind the wall. Oh, oh, oh. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-ba-dum. You can break me down. Standing now, calling all the people here to see the show. Calling on my demons now to let me go. Oh, I need something, give me something wonderful. Ba-ba-ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. You can let me down, you can break me down.
Skinni Coco with Love and Hate here on the Quintus and Baker show, and we are back. Yes, indeed, we are with Skinni Coco, who did that track. I know you guys are seeing me as a Winamp window at the moment. I'll be back in just a second. Here I am. You know, it's weird running like a radio show, dude. I still use Winamp. Hey, Winamp kicks the llama's ass. How about that? Hey, like, I mean, that is the quintessential music player. So there you go.
I don't think I've ever used Winamp. Not even like the free cheat version. I don't think I've ever used
Bro, you don't know what you're missing, frankly. It's the greatest. People in the comments, just back me up. This is the best.
No, I'm not fighting it.
Christopher, I believe your internet is giving you trouble. Is this where the
yeah, man. I don't know. We'll see. It looks all right now.
I think there's
fingers crossed.
I think they're scrambling the internet, you know, a la the State of the Nation Address 2014. Remember when they scrambled the internet stream?
Yucks, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude, don't you remember that? It was one of the Zoomer ones. Zoomer was like, everyone was wanting to tweet.
Inside, and then they apologized afterwards. They were like, it's
yeah, and they were like, dude, show us the technology you used. Like, what kind of signal jammer did you bring to the Parliament building and jam signals with? Like, I mean, that was a crazy time. Yeah. So I was thinking that was happening. You know, they don't want us talking about our lockdown anymore. Quickly to the text line though. We had Utah. We've got Utah Perusati. I hope I'm saying that right. Saying this is absolutely incredible. That was a cover that Skinni recorded. Also Jessica fallen in love with that track, saying so beautiful. And James van Nieuwkerk says 14 out of 10 for Winamp. So James, you and me,
14 out of 10.
You know what's up. Software for the win. Tell us about the Love and Hate cover. Now the artist, I said it was Michael Kiwanuka. Tell me about the inspirations. Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, like Michael Kiwanuka has been on like my top list of listens for a while. Like I think for the past 2 years, and I just listened to more and more and more of his music. And like he's just recently released a new album, Kiwanuka, and that album's just like the depth and like sort of the pivot from the album Love and Hate to this one it's just like I don't know, like I'm just so in love with how much of himself he is. And I don't think he's not really big, but he's still touring. He's, you know, music is his life. He's just making, yeah. He just seems like such a cool guy, dude. Like, you know, yeah. And then, yeah. But in terms of influences, I think I sort of like actually like think about it, and I sort of break it up into 3 categories, and that's, you know, the first loves, or like the old school, like what I was introduced to. Because that's a big thing. Because my mom's side of the family, the Nduli side of the family, is like very musical. Like my uncle, and then they have a band, and like you know, sort of. I think, you know, that was like something I grew up around, and then so I think about like things I was introduced to, and then I think about bands that I grew up with and stuff that I love, and then like solo artists that like drive my lyrical or thinking or even my approach to music and the music business. And I think that's a big thing that, you know, also that came from doing radio. So influences wise, old school, Tracy Chapman, like number one, like voice wise, I think, you know, I just love her voice. It's so pure and just, I don't know, just like it just captures you, dude. And you just don't want to stop listening, you know, like, and, you know, and that was, and I think from her, I learned a lot about, you know, using your voice as an actual instrument instead of an embellishment to your music. And I think that's what I got from her. And then, obviously, you know, rest in peace, Bill Withers. You know, first song I ever played on radio as a cover was Bill Withers' Ain't No Sunshine. Because that's just like his lyrics, man. They're so simple, but they just like hit you like in the heart, you know. So Bill Withers is there, and then obviously I've got Lionel Richie, Marvin Gaye, and Louis Armstrong. Those are the old school influences, things that I got from my family growing up. And then bands when I was sort of like teen up until now that I listen to religiously, Codaline. Definitely Paramore, My Chemical Romance, Coldplay, and most recently Rainbow Kid and Surprise. They're awesome, like always definitely worth a listen. And then individual artists that I just draw so much inspiration from. Kanye West, like, you know, I there's a lot of subjects where I don't agree with Kanye, but when it comes to like and I think that's like one of the funny, interesting conversations about the art and the artist, and like, you know, sort of music wise untouchable in my opinion, production wise untouchable. And then in terms of lyrics and just being such a forward thinking guy, Chance the Rapper, you know, all the way from, you know, 10 Day to Acid Rap to now like Chance 3 and The Big Day, his recent album, are definitely inspired me so much. And then from sort of the rock indie side, John Mayer, yeah, man, I think he made me want to pick up a guitar. Like, listen, hearing Gravity was a song that was like, when I heard Gravity, I was like, yeah, I gotta pick up a guitar, albeit for selfish reasons. It was for girls.
It always is, man. Why would anybody else want to learn to play guitar?
I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like straight up. Like, I think 2 songs where I was like, I need to learn to play the guitar because I'm gonna get girls. It was James Blunt, Waiting on the World to Change, and John Mayer, Gravity. Like that was, I was like, guitar equals girls, you know. After, yeah, I appreciate them. And then obviously Michael Kiwanuka, and then Tom Walker, recent.
Yeah, most recent,
Ooh, dude.
Yeah, we'll lead a light on. Yeah, one of those. I heard that every day of the year last year. I mean, that was like radio's darling. But Christopher, you would actually be quite big friends with Skinni in another life if you guys had never met, because you know, like you guys based on John Mayer. I mean, geez, like Baker came over to my house that one time, and I mean, he showed me this live. He showed me a live performance of John Mayer, and this dude
live in LA.
Dude,
oh my god,
dude, I mean, dude, this guy was just playing guitar and singing at the same time. But like, I mean, in such a way that you were astounded at what you're watching.
Like his hands aren't connected.
Yeah.
They're like, he's just, I mean, his rhythmic like capacity to just like what he's doing here and what he's singing.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, dude. It's like one of the songs, what's the name, that I've like been learning, whatever. And I know, like, dude, from John Mayer, like Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Watching that like performance from him, you just look at that and you're like, why do I even pick up a guitar?
yeah.
What am I am soiling this, like, you know, John Mayer's saying there, I am soiling this instrument. Like,
yeah. Oh. No, but so I think that it factored into you maybe going into radio. So where Skinny and I know each other from is Tux FM, because we both went to Tux FM. I'm actually I don't dress like this 24/7, but I'm sure you wondered what was going on with this whole getup. But I'm actually
I recognize
do you dig it, dude? I'm busy wearing like an old Tux FM. You see, like you check this thing out. It's like an old Tux FM's woolly winter thing, and so I've got like memorabilia lying around when it comes to Tux FM. But you know, we were at Tux FM in a time of transition to a degree, you know, where genres were kind of morphing into different kinds of genres, and I mean the bands themselves that we were playing on, you know, a lot of people love the whole nostalgia genre. Like nostalgia is its own genre to a degree, but you know, Tux FM was in that sliding scale of introducing new genres and kind of straying away from its niche at the time that we were there. I would love to get your estimation on that, you know, because now the Tux FM that I see now, the student culture, I don't know, has it lost a little bit of its indie artist appreciation? A lot of the time, to me, it seems to be very EDM focused instead of the indie artist.
The indie, and I think, like, before I answer a question, I think, like, when you bring up like the term indie as well, it's like, I think the term indie has morphed so much, and I think, like, shout out to Chance the Rapper also making that sort of distinction that, like, also you get indie hip hop, you get indie rap, you get you know, these guys that are trying to push the boundaries, trying to, you know, like, you know, make new stuff, dude, and just, you know, appeal to their genre and stuff. And I do think, you know, some of the student culture, I don't think they appreciate that the hip hop is there, or, you know, they feel represented in the Tux FM space. But I do feel, are the opportunities for up and coming artists in that genre from the student, so to say the student, like, society, like students, if you're a student in Tux and you do hip hop or whatever, do you think your songs can get played on Tux FM? I think it's sort of not as the higher amount as what it was with the indie rock thing back in our day, I guess. So that's sort of my feel on that. Like,
it's a tough one, you know. I mean, that's why we kind of started this show, because we kind of felt that, you know, Pretoria as a scene had this. I mean, I don't think it was limited to who could join it, to, you know, to a degree. And so I think you are pretty much evidence that you can get into the scene and start, you know, getting in and getting gigs and that kind of stuff. But then suddenly a radio station might not be there anymore to play your certain type of genre, because they've moved on to a more, you know, like student friendly you know, type of music. So we essentially need to come up with new platforms to try and give the indie artist with just his guitar a place, you know, to maybe show off his stuff. Do you think that's a good read on the situation?
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. I think more venues are needed, but I think it's very tough, like, you know, sort of from experience with Bar Acoustics at the Grind, helping out Genre actually like help run it and book for it, and, you know, being on the other side of that, you know, being on the other side of the curtain, seeing that, you know, getting feet through the door, that's the biggest problem, you know. And you know, I think I respect artists that are full-time artists and artists that, you know, put their life, blood and sweat into music, in, you know, the live music scene. And they go even further with trying to get people through to their gigs instead of, you know, sort of expecting people to come and doing that groundwork. And I think a lot of live music artists need to put more effort into that groundwork and getting people to to the music as well, instead of having the sort of if you build it, they will come field of dreams mentality with the live music scene, because it's not like that anymore. We have to put in the effort and, just advertise, boost your posts, use social media, use technology, word of mouth, like get people through. So I think that's my feel on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thoughts on that, Christopher?
Yeah, dude. No, I mean, like you guys hit the nail on the head there. I think we can call it the fall of radio in a way. It's definitely transforming, and I think online spaces are going to take over. And one thing that I'm seeing a lot of at the moment is online collaborations, which brings us to the Quintus and Baker Show Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of it, Skinny.
Yeah, I heard of it.
All right. So are you prepared to take up the challenge?
Yeah.
You want to get it right now?
Oh man, dude, easy.
We're gonna have a latency. We're gonna record a song right now, even with the latency of the millisecond ping between Austria and Pretoria. We're gonna play guitars. You hit the A, you hit the G, I'll hit the D.
Yeah. No, or it's just imagine some really horrible music teacher doing online music lessons and be like, you have to factor in the latency in your playing. Accompany this, and you have to factor it in.
Yeah, I'm loving this whole thing with the teachers who are like, for the first time ever, teachers are begging students to speak instead of telling them to shut up, because it's like, are you logged on? Please speak.
Yeah. It's really awkward. Like, obviously from first-hand experience as well, like lecturing, and then you sort of, you're speaking to yourself and you just hear dead silence, and it takes you back to radio days, just dead air. That's what it feels like. You're like, oh man, can just some static buzz would be good, just to know that someone is there.
Yeah, but Skinny, that's the whole thing. So we somehow in the remainder 6 months of the year, we need to somehow collaborate on a track between Austria and Pretoria. So Vienna and Pretoria, let's start brainstorming on that and thinking where we can maybe collaborate on a track. How about it?
Oh man, dude, I'm totally down for that, dude. I'm super cool. Maybe I'll just rope in some guys from Vienna as well, and we just make a nice little international poikie.
Yes, that's an international poikie. I like that a lot. That's really good. All right, so listen, while we were talking about that niche when it comes to the Tux FM days, during the years that I had joined, well, just a year before I had joined, the wonderful documentary Searching for Sugar Man came out, and to play us out of the show in just a few moments, we're going to have a cover from Skinny in terms of a song by Sixto Rodriguez. But that's what I'm talking about, that's what I'm saying, the way of talking about that kind of Tux FM-ish music, building a culture around that kind of stuff. I'm starting to miss, and I realized only now in 2020, years after being at Tux FM, that it's like, yo, guys, we need to pump some energy back into this sector, and that's why you're on this show. But Skinny, thanks for coming down to the Quintus and Baker show, digital and virtual.
Having you here.
It was wonderful to have you. We would love to have you back. Yeah, we would love to have you back. Let's collaborate down the road. But dude, keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, it sounds fascinating, to be frank. I mean, teaching Zulu in Vienna. I mean, only on this channel will you get that. Only on
people.
But no, listen.
Rad, man. Thanks, dude. But super thanks, and shout out to you guys for creating a platform. I think that's one of the biggest things. That's the future of the medium, is creating more platforms in this space, in this digital space. And I think that's what you've done with Quintessential, Quinny P, and also Baker. That's the biggest thing, creating platforms and giving talent a chance and a shot and recognition and all those good things. So
yeah, dude, we're definitely trying. It's one of those things. It's like how to find something that is quintessentially South African. And as you do that, what I do see is, we've been running these shows now for like a couple of weeks, 5 weeks maybe. And so at the end of it, I've got guys that are, contacting us on the Quintessential WhatsApp line. And, we were talking about indie, but these guys are also indie. I mean, even guys that are making indie Kwaito music who aren't signed to a label. I mean, these are guys that are even asking for the stimulus package from the government for the entertainment. They're sitting there like, all I want to do is make music. Radio stations don't seem to be, like playing their tracks. But if you want to get played on this platform, we'll try and play it, and we'll find what is quintessentially South African. And dude, you went out there on a limb, going into the industry, and you were like, I'm not going to stop until I'm playing at a on class level. Then I'm going to play at another stage. Like going to railways, and so no, dude, you did what many failed to do here in Pretoria. So we got to take a hat off for you.
Yeah, well, shout out to Tux FM and YFM Graveyards for teaching me that patience, dude.
but be real, you don't want to do now. You don't want to join another radio station and sit there in the graveyard hours. Correct? It's over for you now.
Yeah, I actually answered this question on Instagram. Like, people still ask me, like, are you going back to radio? Go back to radio. And like, Vienna does have like a FM4 English radio station, and I was just like, I just need some, I think. Nah, I'm good for now. Like, I'm really chill, dude. I'm really chilled. I like ghost write for someone, give them content or something.
Dude, yeah. If you want to do that with Quintessential, you're more than welcome, my dude.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. But I'm good, dude. I just academics all the way for now.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Skinny, thanks for joining us. I'm going to play us out with your cover of Sugar Man. And thanks to everybody who joined in the comment section. And if you're watching the replay, do click that subscribe button and ring that bell icon, and then you'll get notified when we are live. We are usually live on Tuesday nights talking to the up-and-comers. This week, to Skinni Coco. Skinny, cheers, my man. Peace out. Peace out. There you go.
Won't you hurry, 'cause I'm tired of these dreams. For a blue coin, won't you bring back all the color to my dreams? Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers cold, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, man, lost friend on a cold and dusty road. Broke my heart when I found it. It had turned into deep black coal. Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers cold, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, sugar man, whoa. Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers cold, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, sugar man.